Alright, come on. Right there. No. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Alright, well, the dorm is ready and the waifus have moved in. I see they brought their sister ships with them too. Isn't that nice? And... oh god, who left the window open? Shoot, bullying, shoot. At least it's only one of them. And, wait a minute. Oh, Jesus! So Azur Lane is finally available for US, and it kind of surprises me that I've been playing this game for 3 months solid already. If you haven't played it yourself, I'd say give it a try. Seriously, this is a fun game. Now, when it comes to mobile games, I haven't really played many. I've had my share of mobile games and free-to-play browser games, don't ask. And I usually worry about one thing, microtransactions, or as most of you probably watching call it, Gacha. However, what surprises me is how tame the microtransactions are, even forgiving to a degree. The only real RNG comes from 3 things: ship builds, mission drops, and opening up all of those gold crates that we're convinced Akashi really just painted gold. I'm on to you, Akashi. I'll get you one of these days. Now, this video was recorded around the time of the Fallen Wings and Visitors Died in Red event, so I guess I should probably include the limited time builds as part of the RNG and that whole gacha scenario, but hey, if you've played your cards right, you can walk into these events with plenty of cubes to work with. Most of the items needed for everything is pretty much easily obtained. Most of the equipment upgrade resources can be obtained via gameplay, or you could buy them from the exchange shop or the shop that Shiranui runs. Just note that Shiranui isn't going to give you discounts. I mean, look at his face. Is this the face of discounts? No. You can threaten to dismantle her, and she still won't care. You can endlessly click her as if she's got her own hidden quest line, and you'll still be greeted with that face. And if you don't do anything, she just sits there and stares at you, because she's actually... Okay, that's actually a pretty good deal. Huh. She actually gave me a discount for once, and a nice one. This is a really weird feeling right now. Anyway, the 2 bigger resources, coin and oil, can be obtained from quests or collecting them from your canteen and merchant shop. Real talk, I can understand the canteen, which is just used to simply give food to your ship girls, but why do we have the merchant shop? We have the other shop which Shiranui runs. So, is this Akashi's? And if it is, who is she selling it to? If it's the ship girls, then what is Shiranui and Akashi selling these girls? Also, why are they selling us stuff when we're getting money from the store? That doesn't make sense. See, I have this theory that if Akashi and Shiranui can obtain all the money and resources of the base, they'll try to take over the base. So the only way to stop this is to romance the 2 of them so that you... One thing I do like about the 2 locations is that they can be upgraded to produce more quickly, so you don't need to spend gems, the premium currency, on them. Speaking of which, it's nice that you can get gems via quests, and if you're really lucky, commissions. Because really, there's a lot of things gems can get you. You can upgrade your dock and storage size, which you're gonna want to do eventually if you're like me and want to keep one of every ship girl you find. You can also get some nice skins for some ship girls, either because you like the design of schoolgirl uniforms, or you can buy their swimsuit skins so you can be reminded of how thick... for research purposes. You can use gems to buy resources like cubes, coin, and oil, but I'd suggest against that since it's pretty easy to acquire those 3. Now with this out of the way, let's move into something that's a bit more interesting. Characters. Oh, boy are there a lot of them. To give you an idea, I'm sitting at around an 83.1% completion rate, which puts me at about 143 ship girls, with plenty more to obtain. Now there's a reason I called this video Waifu Lane. I highly doubt any of you don't, or won't, like any of the characters in this game. I mean, we've basically got everything a Shikikan would ever need. There's animal girls, smug, memes, sadists, 15 to 30 years in prison, and your classic tsunderes like Amazon here. All these ship girls hail from one of the 4 major factions of the game's universe. America, the Crumpet Cronies, glorious German engineering, and the Eastern Federation from No Game No Life for some reason. Okay, fine. As the game calls them, Eagles Union, Royal Navy, Iron Blood, and the Sakura Empire. Okay, technically there's a fifth faction in the game for Aurora called the North Union, but most of us probably won't get her until the event in the future, so don't worry about this. One thing I do want to mention is that being a big Kansai Collection fan, it's been an interesting experience having to adjust to how different the Japanese ships are. Sure, some of them are similar, but there's a lot of them that are different, and some of which really don't get along with the other ships. But if you don't have the ship girl or waifu you want, that's perfectly fine. You can get them from map drops or even by taking your chances with building. Just remember that when you want to build, you're going to need cubes, coins, and a bucket of your own tears, and you may get the ship you're wanting. At least it's better than Sandy. Of course, the waifu hunt doesn't end there. You see, Azur Lane has implemented an oath system, because the Dakimakura means nothing once you've given your waifu that digital ring. Oh, and by the way, you only get one of those for free. If you're willing to be the next anime harem protagonist, you'll need at least another 600 gems, or you have to drop $10 US for another ring. I guess you could wait once every so often for the 2 for 980 gems deal, but you'll be waiting a while for each reset. Now, don't just give it to them immediately, you gotta build that relationship up first, come on, you all know this. But once you've given them that ring, you get to experience this. It's actually a good thing to do for your characters since it does offer a good boost to their stats. Even without oathing them, simply raising your affection with ships boosts their stats just a little bit. Because once you've given them all the limit breaks they can hit, and they've hit that limit cap, affection's really the only thing you can do to raise their stats. So go ahead, go for that ship harem. Each ship has their own set of skills that can make the difference in combat. The skills dictate a lot of things about them, their overall playstyle, how effective they are against certain enemies, and whether or not they're number one. Now there's characters that I love using in fleets because of their skills. Hood's Barrage and buff make her a great backline battleship cruiser. Shoho's ability to heal and do a decent damage is great for fleets that want to focus on more aggressive vanguards. And don't even get me started on Charles Osborne. So we've got gun and air attack bonuses, buffs, and debuffs, and that basically summarizes everything that skills can do. There's not much else that the skills can do outside of that particular area. However, skills are pretty much vital when it comes to considering your fleet formations. I'll cover fleet formations in another video, mostly because I could talk about a lot of things when it comes to that, and also because there's so many characters that I have plenty of options to work with, and that's just... Glowworm, we've talked about this. You've got an interesting skill, but it's not that crazy enough to be worth noting. After planning out my powerful fleet... What am I talking about? I have Sandy and the Bullions in Vanguard. Anyway, after planning out my fleet, it's time to send them out to perform missions. Now I can't say that I understand the story much at the moment, but the story is spread across several chapters, with each chapter having about 4 missions to complete before moving on to the next one. These missions aren't one and done. It could take 4 to 5 tries before you can actually complete the mission entirely, so make sure you have plenty of oil to work with. Now each mission has several nodes for you to fight various enemy fleets. Once you've defeated enough of them, you gain access to the boss fleet to complete the run. I actually do find it kind of funny that defeating fleets leaves behind a ruin of that fleet, as if it's to remind the other fleets that will be them if they don't run away. But I don't think any of us are going to worry about being wanted for millions of counts of digital homicide here. One other thing to note about each fleet is that you do get some nice items after defeating them. It's nice that they can show you what you can get from each node, well, except for characters. But it's not like you can't find a guide on the internet or something like that, right? At least the game is nice enough to update the character list for each mission once you've obtained a character drop in that mission. Speaking of character drops, some of them are boss-only drops, so you'll have to push your luck to obtain the ones that you want, and it might take multiple tries to do so. Now, let me tell you, I've been working 3-4, or as us locals call it, the fox mines, and managed to get the 2 foxes. However, just be ready when you start that grind. It'll start out relatively painless, but as more time passes, it becomes very annoying, and can I just have my drops, please? So good luck, have fun. Aside from the foxes, you've got plenty of other map drops that you can work for. You've got Hiryu and Soryu at 3-1, Inazuma at 8-1, Ikazuchi at 8-2, Poi, or Yudachi, at 6-4, and many others. It's at least nice that your collections will point out which characters are able to be dropped from certain maps. There's also an additional mode called Hard Mode. What? The name explains itself. It's just a harder version of each of the missions you've already completed. No, seriously, the enemies are just a higher level, and the drop rates don't really feel like they've changed at all. Another thing I want to mention, the loading screens before each fight. These screens contain some lovely art, like this Shokaku one here. Real talk, I was trying to avoid liking Shokaku because, well, let's just say that in another game I may have oathed her. And this overly cute loading screen isn't helping with this at all. God dang it, Azur Lane, why you do this to me? Other screens have hilarious references, like this one of Sakya Iza... Belfast. Nice try, Belfast. I would say that you would have had me there, but I know that in order to have a chest like that, Sakya would have to use If you still manage to have any questions that you'd like answered, then you can more than likely get them answered by the one and only chat. This lovely state-of-the-art feature lets you chat with fellow members of the community. Look, right now they're having a very thorough and in-depth conversation. They're talking about San Diego and her ridiculously high build rate. Good talk, guys. Good talk. I get exactly what you mean. Azur Lane's also implemented this thing called guilds, which really doesn't have any major feature outside of a private chat for your guildmates. Seriously, that's about it. Speaking of guilds, if you want to check out my guild, feel free to join. Make sure that you're in the Aurora server beforehand. So let me get to the more serious part and start the review process here. So, Azur Lane has a lot of fantastic mechanics, and the gameplay for the most part is very exciting and keeps me engaged. I want to keep playing it. I haven't stopped streaming it, so that's also a good thing there. It does make me want to strategize my fleets in the higher difficulties, or the hard modes, especially in the events. The community around the game is, for the most part, very good. There's of course bad apples, but every game has bad apples in its community. There are a few things I feel like it needs touched up on. The first thing being PvP, or the exercises. I feel like it just needs something more to it. Once you get past the South Dakota and Eldridge grind, to me, I just feel like there's not much left to do. Sure, you can go for the bullions and the T4 boxes or whatever other box you want there, but I just don't really see much of a need for that. And the other thing is the story. I'm not sure what kind of story they're aiming for here, because I honestly don't have a very good idea as to what the story really is. And I would love to see them actually have a fully fleshed out and made story, but I know that's probably not their main focus. So, and my final verdict, Azur Lane gets a nice 8.5 out of 10. So I would recommend this game to anyone who's interested in the game, and just watch this video for the sake of seeing a little bit more about what it is. And that's going to be it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Normally I'd be doing another project video poll in the description, but I'm going to be working on a secret video for you all that will be coming out in the near future. If you like this content and want to see more, feel free to subscribe and join my Discord as well. Link for the Discord is in the description below. But now, as our final moment here, let us discuss why Sandy is actually the highest tier ship in the game.